Hello and welcome to this episode of the Ranting Atheist podcast. Today we'll be listening to the deconversion story of a Nigerian atheist who grew up culturally Christian when she was in Nigeria, and by the time she left, growing up, she was finally able to analyze her beliefs as a teenager and come to the conclusion that she doesn't believe all the Christianity that has been in the background all through her life. So it was really fun having a conversation with her. So if you haven't subscribed up Apple, Spotify, Google, YouTube and other places you find podcasts,
then check out the show notes for links you may find useful, including our new Discord. Yes, we have finally moved to Discord. That's where we have Bible study, everything going forward, because Clubhouse is nonsense. So if you want to even share your story, we do it on Discord. Discord makes it very smooth and easy. So click the link below to join our Discord server. We'd love to see you there.
So now, let's go and listen to the deconversion story of Ella. Hello Ella, and welcome to the story of an atheist.
Thank you, Ranting.
How you doing now?
I'm fine, and you?
I'm great. You don't finally agree. I don't toast you since how far.
You've been chasing me for a while now.
Yes.
You've been.
Yes,
you've been chasing me for a while now.
Wait small, follow up. Wait small.
Yeah.
It's all time now. It's bit by bit. It's not feel rush now. So it's good to have you here at last. It's good to have you here.
It's good. I'm finally here at last.
Yeah, so it's good.
Yeah.
We are looking forward to hearing your story now. So we are speaking with Ella. We'd like to know a little more about Ella. We'd like to know, how old are you? Are you Gen Z or are you millennial? One thing I noticed that Gen Zs, they find it easy to tell you their real age. It's me millennials that like to decode. We like to keep the mystery. We're always ashamed of our age, even when we're young. Even when we're in our 20s, we still always like to hide. Mm-hmm. So your age, your location, what you do for a living, and any other thing you like to add, whether are you taking, are you single, are they snatched you from the market, so let's know that. That's
Okay. Hi everyone, I'm Ella. I'm 23 and I'm studying software engineering. Oh. I live in Germany. Yeah, and I'm single. Nice. I think that's all.
That's fantastic. That's everything in it. Yes, it's good to have you. So she's single, but I hope anyway. Let's continue. Yes, people are chopping like all my guy now. Just send me a message says babe broke up with him because of religion. So breakfast is always waiting for you at the corner when you are dating religious people. So
definitely when you are with religious people.
It's always that thing. So however you try to clash, even with all the now, yes, it's possible because when your values align. But there's still
that religion is still something. Come. Yeah, I agree. It will still come.
One way or the other, and it might be, if it's marriage now, it might end up being the children that will be where the fight will start. You might compromise in every other thing.
Yeah, but that thing,
their blood will hurt. Say no, catch them young. You need to train up a child in the way you should go, and when blah 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 blah. So it happens. So that's why sometimes I always most times I always like, are you single? I let everybody down to connect. It's community building.
Yeah, That's good. Honestly, I mean, I kind of like the idea because I feel like Christians already have their own community, so it's very easy as a Christian to. Maybe find someone. But as an atheist and a Nigerian that is trying to be with a fellow Nigerian, it's very hard. Very hard. It's very hard to meet other atheists, even agnostics. I usually give agnostics the side eye sometimes when they say some stuff. I think I prefer like agnostics that are leaning towards atheism, because I found out recently that there are different forms of agnosticism. There is
Yeah.
the ones that call themselves agnostic theist, and then there are the ones that call themselves agnostics atheists.
Yes,
So
agnostic atheist.
yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing.
So
Like, okay, you're an atheist, are you? You call yourself
yeah,
an atheist? Yeah.
yeah.
Well, one thing I always say personally, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel that every atheist is agnostic to a certain degree. Because I don't believe in any fucking God, spiritual, ghost, whatever. But there is no way for me to be 101%. There's no way I can find out. But based on the so-called evidence the claimants have brought, it's all nonsense.
Yeah.
That is where I am.
I agree with that. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
all atheists are agnostic if we are being honest with ourselves. Are also agnostic, not just because agnosticism and atheism answer two different questions. Then most agnostics are atheists. Most. That's why I put it
most
like
of
most.
them. Yeah. Most.
That's the way I put it. So if you are to define atheism, how do you define atheism? Someone asks you.
So for me, atheism is the lack of belief in a God, or the belief that God does not exist. For me, that's just the...
Okay, you're one of them that make the positive claim. No, you're not that say God does. I believe God does not exist.
I believe God does not exist.
Now,
I personally
I'm
believe
a Christian
in that.
now. I'll tell you, where's your proof? Proof that you prove to me that God does not exist.
Usually my... How do I say it? The way I usually answer this is that the burden of proof is not on me. It's on you that claim that there is God. So if you claim that there is God, you have to show me the proof.
But you are claiming God does not exist yourself.
I mean, I don't even have to say much on that, because look at the state of the world right now. So many things happening, and I don't know if God exists, like, why would he just sit and let people suffer?
Now the Christian will say, look at the trees, look at your eyes, the way your system works.
Let people die of diseases, let people die of cancer. There's just so many things. Children born with cancer, and someone is telling me it's God's will. Like, come on.
He's an asshole.
How is that God's will? How is that God's will? Like, how is that God's will?
To rationalize it. It's how they try to do it. So fair enough. The world is too fucked up, but they always like to point out, look at the trees, look at the
world is
sky,
too fucked up.
look at the oceans. That's how they prove their own God.
And what's even interesting is the fact that I've noticed that some theists tend to believe that they are getting a different version of this world we live in. They think we are miserable, and that we are getting a worse version of this world. But we are all living in this shithole together. Nobody is getting a different flavor of this world. And that's kind of something interesting I find with them, that they usually say, oh, we are miserable. We don't see the... I don't know how they put it. I've forgotten how they put it.
We are miserable without their God. Is that what they are trying to imply?
That we are miserable, that they are living a far better life than us. But then when I think about it, I'm like, we are all living in this world together. Everything that is happening.
Themselves. Look at us here in Nigeria. Same. We are here collecting together. Everybody they collect.
In Nigeria, for example, everyone is suffering. Atheists, Christians, Muslims, everyone is suffering. It's not different because you're a Christian.
I don't get why.
Yeah.
It's me myself. So looking back at the way I used to think, I understand, but bit by bit, something got through my armor. So little by little, something we pass through. There are different things that slip through the cracks. So that's what this whole being outspoken is about. Because I don't know if you have noticed on Twitter. Do you go on Twitter?
I actually follow you on Twitter. I actually follow you on Twitter. Yeah.
Okay, you review that to us later. If you want to. What I know is that I haven't noticed that of recent atheists have been entering discussions, like we're becoming topics of discussion.
Oh my, I don't even get it. Like every day there is something that is so like.
I'm happy.
I've noticed it as well.
Our stock market is going up. In case you're not aware,
but honestly, I think
even though it's stupid, the stupidity we are talking about, we'll be there to correct it. But the word atheist is entering into the zeitgeist of the conversation online. Do you understand? It did not exist before. Such thing did not exist before.
Yeah. Actually, what I noticed is that in the past, we actually used to get dragged a lot. But now, the tweets are different. It's kind of like trying to convince us that God exists. It's no longer dragging us.
Yeah.
So I've personally noticed that they don't drag us anymore.
You have not seen the latest video. I don't know if you saw the one guy that was trying to say...
Yeah, I saw it.
I saw that video is belief in reverse.
It's the belief in God.
It's almost like the smoke skunk or something. I don't understand.
The thing is, I've seen those arguments are things I'm hearing lately that, that some of them even say that atheism is also like a religion. And I'm like, how is it a religion if we do not believe in a God?
Mm-hmm.
And I always have to go back to the meaning of these words to make sure that
you are not going crazy.
I know what I'm saying. Like, I'm not going crazy, because being religious means that you believe in a God. So how are you saying that someone that is an atheist is also religious?
What are the doctrines of atheism? Please tell me. That's how you know that they are just talking out of their asses. Please tell me the doctrines of atheism so that I will do atheism correctly, since you know atheism more than me.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. So enough of thieves trying to in fact, the one that is more annoying me, the one that annoys me the most is the ones that always form. I used to be an atheist. Motherfucker,
you were
sure?
never an atheist. Never an atheist.
So,
questioning your religion does not make you an atheist. I feel like people forget that you can question your religion, but it doesn't make you an atheist.
Exactly. Even being angry at their God, being angry. You believe God is real. I can't be angry at Thanos. Come on. See, let's go there right last. Let's go into your story, Jerry. What was your religious background like? Give us the breakdown from your
I actually grew up. Yeah, so I grew up a Christian, but I feel like for me, it was more of, should I say it was a cultural thing? Like when I was, if you're in Nigeria, you actually go to church every day.
Yeah.
That's part of the culture. It's not
which brand of Christianity did you?
Catholic. Oh, my parents. Okay. My dad is not really. He doesn't really go to church, but he believes in God, But my mom is religious. But then I didn't really have a strict upbringing when it comes to religion growing up. It was just clear that every Sunday that we went to church and we came back, and the next Sunday the same thing. But honestly, when I was young, I've always been someone that questioned things. I would ask my mom some questions about religion, and the Nigerian environment, it does not promote critical thinking. So if you're asking this kind of questions, even the adults you're asking, they don't know the answer to this question. They just believe in God because it's something they have always known.
Yeah.
One example would be like this Emmanuel TV. My mom used to watch it a lot when we were in Nigeria. And, I will always ask, how is it possible that he's doing all of these things? How is it possible that he's curing these diseases? Is it even possible? And the funny thing is that when I ask these questions, my mom actually laughs. We all laugh at like the whole thing going on in the church. Even though she's religious, she knows that some of these things are just ridiculous. It's just not possible. Even my dad, when he's around, will all laugh about it. Like, religion is not that much of a big deal in my immediate family, at least. But then
So
again,
you could just decide to, I'm not going to church and nobody will disturb you.
yeah, nobody would disturb you. Nobody. Even though my mom is
jealous.
religious,
I'm jealous.
she's still religious till today. And funny enough, yeah, I actually want to say something interesting. So because I went to secondary school in Nigeria before moving to Germany. So
Okay.
I used to have a friend when I was in SS2, SS3. And one day I mistakenly mentioned that we never had morning devotion or evening devotion. We never had that at home. And she looked at me like I was crazy. And I felt so ashamed. I felt so ashamed because in my mind, wow, we are not as, religious as other people are. And I felt like at some point I was even pretending that that we were having all this devotion because, you go to school, you hear people talking about, oh, they had morning devotion, evening devotion. And in my mind, I'm like, oh, we actually have these things, but only my mom does it. She doesn't really bother us to join her or anything. Okay. Yeah. So that's just it. But honestly, being a Catholic, I went to a junior secondary school, a sister school, like a school girls. Owned by sisters. Oh my God, it was crazy.
Girls only?
Yeah, girls only. It was crazy because we had to go to morning mass every day. We had to pray the rosary every day. Everything was just all about religion, God.
But did you believe the God was real?
Actually, no. It was a question I always ask myself. I just did it because it's something we had to do. I just never really got the chance to explore that question. Does God really exist? So it was more of, I had to do this thing, but I didn't really believe in it, Then I think after that, I came back home because I decided that I didn't want to be in a boarding school anymore. And, I started going to church at home. But then around that time, I think I was 12. I was going to church. I was listening to what the Reverend Fathers were saying. But then I noticed at that age that something is wrong because why are they always talking about women? Women do this, women have to do that. There was even a time I went to a wedding. And the woman was visibly, the bride was visibly pregnant. And the Reverend Father spent the whole sermon, he was just talking down on her. And he was at a point, he was even making gesture of how she's pregnant and she's getting married. Is she not ashamed? And at that age, I'm like, this is weird. But I didn't think too much about it at that age because I'm so young and there's only so much I can think about at that age. So I didn't think too much about it, but I feel like when I moved to Germany, it kind of gave me the chance to explore these topics. I know people make a big deal out of Nigerians who move abroad and become atheist or become more open-minded. But the thing is that if you are in Nigeria does not, that environment, it does not encourage critical thinking. So if you're in an environment that promotes that, of course, that's the only logical thing that will happen. So I just started, when I moved here, we didn't really, all the whole going church thing stopped. We just didn't go to church. We did go because I was just curious, but I went for a few times and I just decided that I'm not going again. It's not like
How old were you when you moved?
I just turned 16 when I moved here. I just turned 16. So I think at that point, I started identifying as an agnostic because, I did ask myself the question, if God created all these things, who created God? So I think when I reached there was when I was like, something is wrong somewhere, but let me just identify as an agnostic. And then from agnostic, I started diving into the Bible a bit. I don't really know much about the Bible. That's the most interesting thing about me, is that I actually don't know a lot about the Bible because,
It's
like I said,
normal. I myself did not know much
we
about the
didn't
Bible
really
as a
read the
Christian.
Bible that much.
As a
Yeah, we
Christian.
didn't really read the Bible that much. So I started diving a little bit into the Bible verses. I'm like, oh, this thing doesn't make any sense. Especially like the ones about women. I think those ones are the ones that piss me off the most because I'm just
Do you
like,
remember any particular ones?
I think those Paul verses where he says something about women are not supposed to speak in church or temple.
Mm-hmm.
Like those Paul teachings, those
Yeah.
ones. I think that was where I reached my I don't know. I just those verses pissed me off back then. Like there was no way to rationalize them. It just didn't make sense to me. So I think that was when I started identifying as an atheist because I mean
Around 16?
I just around
Oh.
16, 17. Yeah. I mean the process
Did you know of there are sometimes when you might going through all this, you might really not believe, but did you know the existence of the word atheist? Like, did you know the meaning then? Did you know before then?
I've always known the meaning of atheist before then.
Okay.
I've always known the meaning of atheist. I knew that there were people who didn't believe in God, but then, when you are in Nigeria, like these people are seen as, I don't know, it's such a huge deal in Nigeria if you're an atheist or if you're someone that does not go to church. I mean, look at what, for example, for example, the way people who are traditionalists are treated, you can already see, like, if you are not a Muslim or a Christian, it's like you are weird. So I already know that there are people who are atheists and do not believe in God. I actually think my maths teacher in SS3, I think he was an atheist because there was just one day we were talking in class and he said something along the line of, why does he have to confess his sins to a priest? That it doesn't make sense to him. He randomly said that, and I was a Catholic back then, and to me, it makes sense because I never did that. Like, I never really went to confessions. And I remember it was such a huge deal for my friends back then that I never went to confessions. And it made me feel bad. But then remembering it now, I'm like, why did they make me feel bad for not going to confessions? Like, I wasn't really that devoted to the religion, to be honest. I've never really been
going along with the ride.
Yeah, I've just been someone that was, going along with the ride. And I did, I thought I was in a bubble until I started talking to other Nigerian atheists. That's when I realized that, they actually went through a hard time with their parents or family, and I didn't. It's so interesting to me when I hear their stories. I'm like, wow, okay, I never really went through this. I mean, because I thought for me that's how it is for everyone. That was genuinely what I thought until I started talking to them. That was when I realized that, okay, maybe I'm actually lucky in a way that my parents, they don't really care. Yeah.
Till this day, my parents don't know. As we speak right now, my parents have no freaking idea. So when I'm in their presence, praise the Lord, oh my soul, shalaba shambalaba sondoro. That's how we grow. If I stay in the house, I leave the house and form like I'm going to church. I go and sit down, chill out somewhere. Or I go and watch one movie in the cinema. Sunday morning is the best for watching movies. Like, the cinema is empty.
Sunday
morning. So that's the best time. So now you're an atheist. You finally embrace the term at 16. Wow, that is awesome. Like, I wish I like 16. Man, Man, why did I open my eyes early? But this life, nothing do you. So who did you tell first? Who your close, your family?
To be honest, I think I kept it to myself for a while because, like I said, I didn't think it was a big deal. Okay. But when my dad started, because okay, I need to say this thing.
Okay.
Before we moved to Germany, my dad was like, he's always lived in Germany, right? So he would come back to Nigeria every 2 years, spend time with us, and then go back. So he wasn't really there when we were growing up. So when we moved to Germany, he wanted us to live as if we were in Nigeria. He wanted us to be going to church. Why do they always
like doing that?
You know, my dad is actually not strict. I think he was just trying to do his best because he thought that was what we wanted. So I'm like, you never went to church. I've never seen you go to church. So why are you trying to force us to go to church? So at a point, we actually went to church a few times, and I just told him that he never went to church, so he should just leave us alone. And since then, he has never gone back to church since then. Me, I've never gone back to church since then as well. So yeah, that's I actually told my dad. Yeah, I haven't answered your question. Let me answer. Okay. I told my dad, and I can't even remember his reaction. I don't think he cared that much, but I mean, he was a little bit disappointed. Yeah. But honestly, I don't think it's a big deal to him. My mom, on the other hand, I mean, she's religious. She's religious, and I'm sure she's wishing deep down that it was different, but at the same time, she cannot do anything about it. So it's more of, she's old enough to make her decision on that, and we cannot do anything on it. And I think that's the approach like Nigerian parents should take when it comes to their kids about decisions like this, because you cannot keep influencing your kids just because you are their parents. Your kids are also their own persons. Like, they can make decisions about things like that. You don't have to always step in. So, I mean, the way my parents... The way my parents reacted to it is how I expect other parents to react, other Nigerian parents too. I mean, you can be disappointed in your kid, but at the end of the day, they have to live their lives outside of your own expectations of them. Yeah.
They will tell you, whether you are 60, I am still your father. There's nothing you can do. You are still my son. See you as a son. You are for me, big boy. Yeah. I'm like, come on, man. Come on. Yeah, so now you're living as an atheist. You have told your dad, you told your mom. Now, as an adult, as a woman, a Nigerian woman living in Germany, navigating relationships, how has it been? How has it been? Give us, have you had any experiences that, because of your lack of belief, that...
Yeah, all the damn time.
So share with us some that you're comfortable with.
Okay, to be honest, I've only had one boyfriend, only one, and that relationship, one of the reasons it ended was because of my atheism, right? One of the reasons it ended is because of my atheism. And because before we started dating, I was already an atheist, and he knew, and he claimed that he didn't have any problems with me being an atheist. But along the line, it became a problem for him. And that one ended, Sha. But then currently, now that I'm single, I mean, I talk to people. I mean, they are nice, but then them not being an atheist, it's like a huge deal for me. Like, I cannot accept it. I cannot accept it.
Like any attitude of reaction
no,
to...
they haven't. They haven't actually. Those people usually say things like they don't care that I'm an atheist, blah blah blah. But I mean, I think they genuinely don't care. But at the end of the day, it's still going to cause like a problem along the line. Like, okay, what happens when the kids are here? Because one problem, one thing I find interesting about Christians is that they will tell you that, oh, I don't care that you're an atheist, but once you start talking about kids, they'll be like, oh, that they'll actually want their kids to be Christians, and you're just there like, but you said you didn't have any problem with atheism. I mean, personally, I want my kids to be atheists as well. So that's where the problem is. You have one person saying, oh, I want my kids to be atheists. The other person is saying, oh, I want my kids to be Christians. So obviously it's not going to work. For me, at least, it's not going to work. Like, that's something that I cannot ignore. Like, I don't want to pretend that I'm okay with you being a Christian, because I'm not. I just want us to be on the same page when it comes to that. Yeah.
Yeah. But have you ever imagined yourself that in this scenario, like, okay, let's assume you get married to a Christian who is cool and he ticks all your boxes, doesn't try to have friction of religion, he allows you to day your day, he days his day for religion, power, every other thing, you get together. But on the children matter, what's you personally, what have you imagined this scenario? Like, how do you think you make your children to become atheists without you imposing the way they were indoctrinating us? Like, you indoctrinate your children to become atheists. Like, how do you want to achieve that without indoctrination?
Yeah. Oh my God, this is such an interesting question, because it's something I've thought about, because you wouldn't want to indoctrinate your kids. So for me, the approach I've taken is that I'm going to try to set them on that path. I'm not going to impose anything on them, because they are not just going to learn about one religion. I'm going to teach them that, oh, there are a lot of religions. And not only that, even the German educational system, it kind of places an emphasis on critical thinking. So I don't have to be worried about like their religious subjects, because the way it's taught, it's not taught from the point of view. It's always taught from the point of view of critical thinking, like analyzing this text and seeing like the wider perspective and not just what's written there, just like you would have that in Nigeria. So for me, it's something people have asked me, and I usually say, oh, I'm going to teach them that there are so many religions in this world, not just one. And I'm going to like let them, I'm going to encourage critical thinking. Like, if they ask questions, I'm going to answer them. Like, I'm not going to be like those Nigerian adults that just tell you, oh, believe in this just because you are told to.
Also, don't believe. You're doing the opposite. Like, personally, I feel like the best way, one of the best me I have in my own head is like, when I will tell them, I say, come, question everything, even me. When you put it that, you need to also learn to find out it, even when I say so. So it's now for me to now, okay, if they ask a question, I'll tell you, okay, let us go and find it out together, so that they will see the process of finding out questions, how to find out questions. Maybe by then ChatGPT would have turned to Skynet. So you just, hey, ChatGPT, what is this? What is that? You teach them how to find answers for themselves, and not just take my own word for it. For all you care, I may be wrong. I'll let them know that.
True. Yeah.
That's
true.
one of the things. Let them know that no human being is perfect, including your father. Your father is an overload in many things. Not like our parents say, I need to carry first. I don't need to carry first.
To be honest,
I need to struggle.
As in, my main concern with religion when it comes to kids, I don't think kids should be introduced to religion, to be honest, because my main concern is just that it doesn't allow them to think outside of that box. And I don't want
Yes.
my children to be placed in that box where they can't think outside of it. Because I imagine if something like this is encouraged in Nigeria, I think a lot of us will actually be atheists. But unfortunately, it's not encouraged. It's frowned upon. Yeah, it's frowned upon to like go outside of that, bubble. Once you try to step out, you know, people try to like bring you back by not really giving you the answers that will make you step out. Yeah.
It's fear tactics. They use
Yeah, it's
different
fear tactics they
emotional
use. Yeah,
manipulation, different things,
exactly.
and that's how you know that it doesn't. There's something up. That is why, and if you
Yeah, yeah.
notice, in between, whenever I have noticed, seen a lot of, like I've seen some scenarios where the one parent is an atheist, the other parent is a Christian. The atheist is ready to kind of put a level ground, like okay, let's let them have a taste of both worlds and make their decision. But most of the time, the Christian is always like, my way or the highway.
Yeah, this is something I've noticed with Christians. They don't want a middle ground. It's always going to be their way because I don't know. I just feel like even Nigerian Christians know that some of the things they believe in, it sounds ridiculous, some of these things in the Bible. And I think I genuinely have a feeling that the reason most people believe in religion today is because of afterlife. This idea that, oh, I don't know what will happen after I
When I
die.
die,
So let
yeah.
me be religious so that in case God exists, that I'm
So
going
they are
to end
playing,
up in heaven
they
or
are playing real life.
something.
They are the ones playing Pascal's wager in real life.
This is genuinely the only reason I feel like so many people believe in religion today.
The fear of
Like this
hell.
is what I feel like, honestly. It's not that they don't know that some of these things are ridiculous. They know, but it's just this idea of afterlife, this idea of, you end up in some place, which I don't know. I also find that ridiculous. I feel like if you die, you just die. You don't know what's happening. That's the end for you.
But
Yeah.
when it has been etched in your memory, I remember growing up watching Mount Zion movies, Agbaranla, all those kind of movies. So it has been etched into my subconscious that life continues after death. So when you have been
Yeah.
told, when you are small, all those film shows showing you Jesus Christ, going to
Yeah.
hell, all those things, content has been really. There's a lot of content they have
Exactly.
used to put that mentality, so it's hard for one to just get rid of it in one move. So there are even still some
Yeah.
atheists that have PTSD of hellfire.
Yeah.
They know it's not real, but their mind has not still gotten rid of it.
Yeah. This is yeah. That's something I agree with. Definitely. That's something I agree with. What actually made me come to this realization that, oh, the reason people still hang on to this thing is because of the afterlife. Is there's this documentary I watched on Netflix about religious cults, and one thing I found out in most of these cults is the fact that there is always something about afterlife, this promise about afterlife. This thing will happen, that thing will happen, you'll be living forever.
You have a
Like
planet, you become a
you
god.
have a planet.
The Mormons, yeah, laugh, say what? Crazy religion that even normal
So it's just
average
this
Christians see
it's
them
just
as
this
ridiculous.
idea, like, yeah, it's just this idea that, oh, if you everything you do on this earth will be accounted for. It's just this idea, like that's the reason. That's when it clicked for me that this might actually be the reason why
No,
people
that's
still,
that's when
because
they preach to
honestly,
you.
yeah.
Carry on.
Because honestly, I don't know like if you look at Nigeria now, I don't think there's any real benefit in being religious. It doesn't really help you. Like you are still living in a shitty country. with shitty government, like your religion is not really helping you out. So why do you still believe in it?
People fasted, people prayed, people were, oh Lord, let our vote count.
It's so sad when you think about it.
People have been praying for Nigeria. So we fasted for 50 days. 50 days fast. Really, as in, man. And yet, every year, things are getting worse. It's just like
things are getting worse.
Do you not realize that you guys are actually, that old saying, insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result? Like, we are mad people in this country. We just don't know.
I think religion is also holding Nigerians back in a way. Like this box that they have placed themselves in. I was just about to ask you that question.
Like, how do you see religion holding us back as a country? Like, responsible, how do you see it?
I think religion does not. Okay. Yeah. So if religion does not encourage critical thinking, you are in a box. It's very hard to go out of that box if you're a Nigerian and you are religious. Even the ones that attempt to, because I mean, I've met people who are, maybe Christians, but they are still very, very, very liberal. They are still very, very liberal. And you can still tell that they are still struggling with their beliefs. So it's not really something that they they don't really achieve that going out of that box completely, those liberal Christians, because when you hear them talk, you can still see that they struggle to interpret these verses to make them look, less, I don't know. Like
they are the ones that they suffer from cognitive dissonance the most. Like
it's so interesting how brain. Yeah, because this thing also happens when I hear Christian feminists say some things. Don't get me wrong. I think you can be a Christian and a feminist. That's
it's not
personal opinion.
They are already. They are already. So it's not. You can't stop that.
One thing I don't like that they do is how they try to make Jesus this perfect human being.
Jesus was a feminist. I wanted to die.
Jesus was a feminist.
The number one way you know he was not a feminist. Look at the 12 closest people to him. Tell me where the woman is. First of all, answer. You people are saying, why are you deceiving?
Yeah, so I think that's one way religion is holding us back. Like even the ones who the ones who try to make the religion modern, they still struggle to come out of that box. So it's very, very hard to come out of that box. Religion boxes you, and I don't know. There's always a limit you can go. Yeah, there's always a limit you can go with how you analyze stuff when you're a religious person. I feel like it's a struggle. Like, should I go outside of this box or should I stay in this box? So that's how I see it when I see like Nigerian Christians. That's how I see it. Because I genuinely believe, and I mean, I've said this so many times, I genuinely believe they know some of these things are straight up ridiculous. But
God knows best. That's always it. God knows best. Okay, so to wrap up now, you personally, what would you tell somebody that's listening to this and is questioning? What advice would you give them? Like, they are questioning, and maybe part of the reason why they are holding on is they can't just imagine living a life without God or those kind of shit. Like, what personal advice would you have for such a person?
Well, I mean, I think if you are questioning, I just think you need to find I don't know how to say this, but you need to find the answer within yourself. And I'm saying this because I feel like when you start questioning, you are more likely to go on the internet and look up like all these websites. But honestly, I feel like the answer is always within yourself. Like, you don't need to think like too deeply about it. It doesn't have to be something that you have to struggle with coming up with like an answer. And also don't forget, some questions do not have an answer. Like some questions do not have an answer. You don't have to find an answer for every damn question you come across if you are struggling. It doesn't have to make logical sense to you. I don't know, like just try to find the answer within yourself. I don't know, like honestly, I don't know like what kind of advice I'll give that person, because I wouldn't want to give them an advice that will make them become an atheist. Because if you're struggling, then there are two possible outcomes. You could become irreligious, or you could continue being religious. So, I mean, just find the answer within yourself, and any side you end up on, it's good. It's fine.
Yeah, fair enough. You have to tell them like suspect all sides, suspect both sides. Don't trust both sides.
Don't trust both sides.
Come neutral. When you look at Christian side or Muslim side is suspects, and these atheists are suspects. They are devilish. The devil's using them, so don't believe them. Everybody present your facts. Let's analyze it. That's what I think. Yeah. This is a very good advice, and I think that's actually what I was trying to drive at. Like, look at both sides. Try to analyze it, like critically think about what you are taught in your religion. Do you believe in it? Like, what are the basis of your belief? Is there any benefit to believe in it? Like, just, there are some questions you can come up with and try to answer them yourself. Yeah. Fantastic. So Ella, do you want us to find you online?
Yeah, I'm on Clubhouse. I mean, my name on Clubhouse is Ella, and I think lately I've been coming to your room, so yeah.
Yeah, so you can meet her on Nigerian Atheist house. So the link will also be there. So if you want to meet other atheists, not just Ella, you can. Yeah, we do our best. So Ella, it's been great hearing your story. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for having me here. It was really nice talking to you.
Same here. I really appreciate it. Thank you for listening to this episode. Please consider subscribing Apple, Spotify, Google, YouTube, and other places you find podcasts.
Then check out the show notes for links you may find useful. Discord especially. If you want to share your story, just click on the link, join the Discord server, and we'll work out a time that is convenient for both of us. Simple and easy.
Have a great week, and I will catch you on the next one.